all gone. Yay. I mean, I can do it. I just don't like doing it. I think about the mountain pass down in Oregon. I think I've got a video on here that shows me running 97 solid compact snow and ice. That was my very first run. It was about 74,000 pounds. And I'm like, hey, I've never driven this much weight in the snow before. How do you do this? I'm like, I just made it up as I went. There were 4 other trucks wrecked that night in the ditch. A couple of them, I think, just drove off the road. One slid off the road, and one sideswiped another semi, and they collided and smashed up their reefers. That was a mess. And then last month, when I was down in Missouri, this cowboy. Last month when I was in Missouri, it was flat, but I pulled up to 8 inches of snow on my hood, and then it snowed 6 more inches between then and the time I got to my destination. And that was literally a mess. And all the drivers were sitting at the truck stops, and they were not having it. I'm like, well, if you guys would just not drive like jerks, you can drive in the snow. It's just, you gotta slow down. Thank you, dude. So, and there were trucks in the ditch, all and jackknifed all over the place on that highway. I mean, in front of me, behind me, on the other opposing highway. I was like, this is not complicated. It's flat, and it might be solid ice, but you know what? If you're not driving too fast, it's manageable. And a lot of this comes from driving the ice roads in the mountains in the Jeep, and knowing how far you can push the tires and traction and things like that. So, without the experience in the mountains in the Jeep, I don't think I'd be doing as well as I am in the snow in this. Same principles apply. But I gotta tell you, if you need a job, you need to make some seriously huge whip really fast. This is the way to do it. I mean, even if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. I mean, it's just ridiculous how much this industry is paying people to drink coffee and hang out on this wheel. I mean, yeah, there's a little more to it than that, but essentially, I get paid to see the country and drink coffee, and that's a great way to go. And I needed a little infusion of cash because I'll tell you what, after a divorce, your spouse cheats on you and blindsides you with the divorce, all of a sudden, you're like, great. All the bills came due, all the insurance came due, everything came due all at once right after I started this job. So I've literally been able to stroke checks for payment in full on all of it. But there was a stretch there that's like, well, you gotta, when you start a new job, you're not gonna get a paycheck right away. No matter whether you're driving for yourself or you're driving for somebody else. It's all the same. I mean, driving for somebody else, just don't drive for companies like Swift, or they pay you by the mile within the zip code, which is, well, they don't pay you to drive through the zip code. They pay you from the edge of it to the edge of the next one. So basically, they're ripping you off is what they're doing. So if you're going to drive based on hub miles, meaning every time the wheel goes around, it's keeping track of how many miles you're driving. That's a hub mile. So if you're paid hub mileage, that's a great way to start. And then, of course, if you own your own truck, well, then that's a whole other story. Then you're going to make some crazy money. And so, it's funny, the driving school had some questions. Some of the students, when I went back, they're like, how do you stay awake for so long? I'm like, well, don't eat carbs. Food is a managed item when you're driving. You have to be strategic in what you're doing. I eat a lot of protein. Do not eat junk at truck stops. Oh my gosh, that's speeds up your metabolism when you eat a little bit all day long, and if you're eating proteins and things like that. Like I've got the Instant Pot with me, so I'm gonna hard boil my own eggs so that I can have, have that kind of a snack. But yeah, don't eat big meals if you're gonna drive on the road. I mean, it's gonna put you to sleep, first of all, and secondly, it's just you're gonna gain weight because you sit here all day for 11 hours, enjoying the scenery, listening to music. I DVR a lot of stuff, so I have Hannity and Tucker DVR. So, but I usually watch them at the end of the day because they're about an hour long. So when I've got about 2 or 3 hours left, I'm like, okay, well I got 2.5 Hannitys or Tuckers before the end of my day. That's kind of how I wrap up my day. Not always, but sometimes. But yeah, if you need to make a change in your life, you need to get paid. You can buy your own truck, but you don't have to. I mean, that's one way to do it. I like that idea, but it's not for everybody. But yeah, get hub miles. There'll be a little bridge like I had between, I had to stuff all my stuff into storage, and that's expensive. That they had just all the fees and expenses, and I had to prepay insurance, down payments and expenses, deposits on the truck and the trailer, and it all comes at you at once. And so I had a little window there where it was really tight, where I just was barely scraping by and make it all work. And I still have to rent another storage unit or another 40-foot space at the yard for this stupid travel trailer I've got to get rid of. I'm going to pay down the negative equity, which is now about $15,000. So I got to pay that down over the next couple months and get rid of that stupid thing, so I can stop making that payment. Cut that tile together. But yeah, no, the bridge was tough getting set up and running, but they got pretty clear sailing now. Yeah, my buddy that runs the step deck, he even said the other day, he's like, nah, he's done with flatbeds. He's tired of his hands getting frostbite in the wintertime, freezing in the rain. He's just done. He's gonna sell a flatbed and get probably a reefer like mine, because it is all bump and go. I just bump the dock and then I go while they unload me. As a matter of fact, that sour cream I had a load of sour cream back there the other day out of Kansas, and those morons in the warehouse, I took pictures of it. I knew that was going to be a problem. They put one tiny little saran wrap, shrink wrap around the 5-gallon buckets on those pallets, and I knew that wasn't going to, that was ridiculous. That much weight in the one wrap of shrink wrap, like, no, that's not going to hold. And it didn't. The last 2 pallets went over in the back. Luckily, I didn't have to clean that up. It only broke 2 buckets, so I had a small mess. I had to have it cleaned out. But the warehouse handled it, and I told them, I said, hey, this is not cool. They loaded me this way. I documented it, and the receiver said when I got to where it was going, and they're like, no, we're familiar with this problem from this shipping company or this warehouse that you picked that up from. They do this on a regular basis, so it's an ongoing problem. So luckily, I didn't have to restack 2 pallets of sour cream buckets. I would have, but it's nice if you don't have to. So don't bump and go. I'm not tying loads, lashing loads. I'm not losing loads. Oh man, I see flatbeds all the time with their load shifting. No thanks. That's just that. I'm not paid more to do that. Matter of fact, you make less when you're flatbedding. Or if you're doing that delivery stupid stuff like you see on shipping orders where they have a gooseneck on a pickup truck. You don't make any money doing that. And you're still in the weather. Oh, and you don't have a condo to live in. You live in your pickup truck. Talk about stupid. Holy crap. Yes, I'd like the most difficult life possible, and I'd like to not be comfortable ever. Oh, well, okay, here you go. agency, like you could up until February 7th and get your CDL. Now Washington you couldn't, but many other states you could. You could just take the test. If you passed it, you could get your CDL. That's federal regulation now. You have to go to a formal training school that's certified to issue a certificate that you've passed and you're qualified to operate this equipment. So that's going to weed out the men from the boys real quick. So unless you got 6 to 8 weeks to train and go to school, some of you can find one that's 4, but still that's a month and a half. And you got to cough up, like now that it's federally mandated, the prices all went up. So mine was $5,000. That was a pretty good deal. But I went at night, and they charge more for night school. But yeah, you got to be. That's 40 hours a week plus for a month. So if you don't have your CDL, you're screwed. You should have gotten it. Oopsie. Anyway, oh, that's one thing about I-90. It's 70 for trucks. I'm doing 75, which is not that big a sin. But I'll tell you what, some of these curves, man. Yeah, you want to take it at 70. And just for reference, those yellow signs, when they recommend a slower speed for a turn and you will grip it around it in your car, like it says 45 and you do 70 in your car, of course you can do 70 in your car. Those are meant for trucks, and let me tell you, if they say 45, they mean 45. But anyway, that's enough rambling. We made it through the snow. We're going to get rid of this chicken in Sumner, Washington. And then we're going to probably come back over to, well, I don't know where we're going to get a load. Hopefully the pass doesn't get messed up. We'll grab a load in